Hello， 大家好，欢迎来到西雅图焦点的直播现场，我是主播莉亚。屏幕前的观众朋友们，你们佩戴眼镜或者是隐形眼镜吗？你会觉得生活很不方便，想要去做近视矫正手术吗？那美国呢，实际上有超过了2000万人做了近视矫正手术，包括 LASIK 半飞秒以及最新由美国 FDA 批准的 Evo ICL 晶体植入手术。那这款晶体呢，自从2年前批准以来，风靡全美，成为了替代飞秒激光手术的最新选择。那么为什么晶体手术比激光手术的效果要更好？它都有哪些特点？为什么说它是一个可逆的手术呢？今天我们邀请到的是权威专家，西雅图历史最悠久、最有经验的视力矫正中心 King LASIK 的创始人 Dr. Joseph King 来为我们讲解。Dr. Joseph King 呢，是自从1997年开始进行视力矫正手术，帮助超过15万人恢复清晰的视力。病人包括美军飞行员、神枪手以及各种顶级运动员。他所创建的 King LASIK 是目前西雅图地区历史最悠久、最有经验的视力矫正中心。Hi, Dr. King. Thank you so much for joining us today. First, can you please say hi to our audience?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So we're talking about myopia. I think it's kind of like pandemic right now. It's kind of growing and growing. You can see more and more people wearing glasses and contact lenses, part of their life. Can you please briefly introduce yourself and your practice, King LASIK?
Of course. My name is Joseph King, and I'm a refractive surgeon, which is the specialty of ophthalmology, which involves correcting the need for glasses. So I specialize in treating patients who wear glasses and who'd like to be out of glasses or contact lenses. So this field encompasses a variety of procedures, including cataract surgery, refractive lens exchange, Evo ICL, LASIK, and PRK.
Right. Yourself wearing glasses before and had a LASIK procedure 25 years ago. Tell me about that.
I had LASIK quite a few years ago. I've been in practice for about 25 years. And for the first 5 years while I was performing refractive surgery procedures like LASIK and PRK, I saw so many patients with such amazing results that I knew I wanted to have it done for myself. And when I underwent LASIK, it really was life-changing. I was heavily dependent on glasses for all of my activities, including doing surgery, but more importantly for my lifestyle, I just found that they were getting in the way for things like swimming and running and hiking and just waking up in the morning and seeing clearly. So it really was just an amazing experience for me to be able to go from one day wearing glasses to the next being completely free of them and seeing actually better than I did with my glasses. So it was a great life-changing experience, and it's a lot of fun to do these procedures and to help others experience that same excitement and improvement in lifestyle and obtain the freedom from glasses and contacts.
That's awesome. So the latest Evo ICL technology is approved by FDA and quickly become one of the most noticeable technology for vision correction procedures. And what exactly is Evo ICL and who are the candidates?
The Evo ICL procedure is one which corrects the need for nearsightedness by inserting a small lens into the eye. This lens is similar to a contact lens, and it fits behind the iris, which is the colored part of the eye, in front of the natural lens. So ICL stands for implantable Collamer lens, and the Collamer refers to the composition of the lens, which is made of a very biocompatible material that it doesn't cause any inflammation or any problems at all. It fits inside the eye, right behind the iris, and that ICL is sometimes referred to as an implantable contact lens because it functions a lot like a contact lens, correcting nearsightedness and astigmatism. And this is an extremely effective way to correct nearsightedness and astigmatism for patients who wish to be free of glasses and contacts.
So how much prescription can they correct?
Well, we can correct the vast majority of patients who are nearsighted beginning at about -3 and up. So we can correct -3 corrections and then all the way up to -18 or 19, and sometimes even larger than that if we were to combine procedures, including an ICL with LASIK. And we can correct up to about 4 diopters of astigmatism as well. So for anyone with a prescription with what we call a spherical equivalent, which is the average of astigmatism and nearsightedness, -3 and up, an Evo ICL is an excellent option.
Right. So EVO is kind of like new thing, but ICL lenses actually being out there for like over 30 years, have as long as the history with LASIK. So what are the differences between the old generation lenses and the new EVO lens?
That's a great question. The older generation lenses did not have some of the design advantages of the EVO lens. The EVO lens is unique in that it has a small hole, otherwise known as a fenestration, in the center of it and at the in the periphery of the lens. And what this does is it allows fluid to flow through and around the lens, which is healthier for the eye. As a result of this design improvement, the likelihood of anyone developing any postoperative problem like glaucoma or cataract is greatly reduced. And this has really led to just a huge surge in interest in this lens because it is now much safer than ever before. It's also a lot easier to insert the lens. With the older models of implantable Collamer lenses, a small hole needed to be made in the iris, known as an iridotomy. And that would need to be done on a separate day. And that made it somewhat inconvenient for patients because you'd need to have more than one procedure done. So the Evo ICL design improvement has improved the safety of the procedure considerably. And it's also made it a lot easier. We do both eyes in the same day, and it takes just 5 or 10 minutes to do one of these procedures.
That's awesome. So I've heard about dry eyes and nighttime glare with LASIK. Is also kind of the risk with EVO ICL procedures, or are there any risks of serious complications about this procedure that we should know?
We don't really see dry eye like we do with LASIK. That's one of the drawbacks of a LASIK procedure. So it does tend to be more dryness of the eyes. I've had LASIK myself 20 years ago. When I had my procedure done, the EVO ICL wasn't available. But we believe that by the creation of a LASIK flap, which involves going into the cornea and making a thin flap of tissue, which requires severing of some of the nerves that innervate the corneal surface, we may be interrupting the sensitivity of the cornea, the natural sensitivity of the corneal surface, which may lead to some dryness of the eyes following LASIK. Now, for the vast majority of patients who undergo LASIK, this is a short-term issue, but there is the rare person who does seem to be bothered by longer-term dry eye problems. We're just not seeing that with the EVO lens, and I believe that's due to the fact that we're actually not touching the cornea, the corneal surface centrally like we do with LASIK. Small incisions made through which the EVO lens is inserted, but we're not making that LASIK flap, and that does seem to be associated with less incidence of postoperative dry eye as compared to the LASIK procedure.
Right. One of the beauty about EVO is that it can be removable. So I had EVO ICL surgery 2 years ago. This is actually one of the key parts that make me finally make the decision, because I was just so afraid. I had -13 diopter. I just afraid to move forward on any kind of procedure because I just cannot take more risks that can worsen my eyes. Tell me about that, the whole removable thing. I think nothing can compare it considering of this benefit.
One of the great advantages of the EVO lens is it is removable. So if for any reason that lens were to be removed, the eye just goes back to its preoperative condition. And for some patients, this provides a degree of comfort, thinking, well, what if I don't like it? What if I want to have it removed? Well, we'll just take it out. It's a very simple thing to do, to just remove the lens, and the patient can go back to wearing glasses. Now, that's different than a LASIK procedure where we are altering the shape of the cornea permanently. And LASIK and PRK essentially are irreversible procedures. Certainly, we can treat an eye again to change a prescription with LASIK or PRK, but it's not truly removable and reversible like it is with the EVO lens. And a lot of patients find that to be a comforting aspect of the EVO lens, that it's like putting in a contact lens, and then if you don't like it, you can just take it out.
That's awesome. Just to add more peace of their mind. So from patient's perspective, what can they expect during the surgery, and what is the recovery process like?
Great question. Having an EVO lens inserted is a fairly simple, easy procedure. Patients are offered preoperative sedation if they're feeling nervous. It's not necessary to take anything, but for those who might feel a little bit of anxiety, we do offer some oral sedation preoperatively. Patients will be lying flat on a bed, looking up under a fairly bright operating microscope that's necessary in order to see the eye. It's a quick procedure. There are several small openings made into the eye. The lens is injected into the eye and put into position, and the protective gel that surrounds the lens is then washed out of the eye, and we're done. So it's a very quick procedure, typically about 5 minutes in total duration. Right. So it's fairly quick for patients to undergo, and it's a comfortable procedure as well. It's really not uncommon for patients to sit up and an hour or two later be able to read 20/20. The recovery is remarkable. For most patients, the big visual recovery comes in the first 24 hours. And patients will go home the same day. So we do have patients stay around for a few hours following the procedure to check the pressure in the eye to ensure that the pressure is good before heading home. And after one good night's sleep, most patients are in great shape and seeing extremely well. So we typically do both eyes in the same day. We start with the right eye usually, and then go on to the left one. And that allows for very rapid recovery with minimal downtime for patients.
That's awesome. So can their vision be 20/20 after procedure, and how long it can last?
Well, this is a permanent procedure. I did mention it's reversible, but it is permanent. So this lens can stay in as long as a patient would like to leave it in. Now, one important thing to note is that everyone, whether you have any surgery or no surgery at all, everyone over a lifetime eventually will develop a cataract.
Right. And
typically that's around age 65 or 75 years of age. It can vary from person to person. But as that lens in the eye gradually ages, which is inevitable, cataract will develop, and at that point, a cataract surgery can be done to remove the natural aging lens from the eye and replacing it with an implant. And at that time, the EVO lens would be removed as well. So, this is a permanent procedure. It typically lasts throughout one's adult years until that cataract develops, which is going to be inevitable.
That's awesome to know that if future are going to have cataract surgery, it can be removed and replaced my lens, in just one procedure. That'll be easier for me. So a lot of patients, no matter they have the LASIK or EVO ICL, they often worry about regression. So will their nearsightedness come back if they use too much screens or develop bad visual habits like using phone in the night?
Now, just as a prescription may change if a person does not do surgery, a prescription may change if someone does have a procedure like the EVO lens inserted. It is possible to exchange an EVO lens for a different power. So as I mentioned, it's reversible. Well, you can take the lens and replace it with a different one. But if it's a very small adjustment, sometimes a small degree of LASIK or PRK can be done on top of the EVO lens. That, for some patients, may be a preferable option. It's a fairly quick and easy thing to do. A lot of patients who do opt for the EVO lens have very large prescriptions where it's just not appropriate to do LASIK. But once you put that EVO lens in and you've corrected 95, 98, or 99% of the prescription, you just have a very tiny residual correction. That's a very easy laser vision correction touch-up.
Got it. Are there any activity restrictions after EVO, I shouldn't use too much screen after EVO procedure, otherwise I'm going to have nearsightedness again? That's my question, usually, using the phone in the night.
Right. Well, it's always a good idea to limit screen time. Every 15 or 20 minutes or so, take a break and look off at the distance and let the focusing muscles in the eye relax. So I think you can just go back to whatever activities you would normally be doing. There's no need to really restrict activities in the long term with an EVO lens in place. However, during the immediate postoperative period, obviously we don't want patients to do any higher risk activities like be involved in contact sports where the eye could be accidentally bumped or poked during a sporting activity. So contact sports should be out. It's also a good idea to avoid swimming pools and hot tubs for about a week. And obviously, don't rub the eyes for about a week. Let the wound heal.
Right. So this kind of surgery actually bring me the vision freedom, and I cried after procedure. So have you encountered any particular, memorable patient story whose life has been actually changed because of EVO surgery?
There are so many patients who have had the experience like you have, where it's really an emotional experience.
Right.
To be able to see for the first time ever, it's elating. It's an amazing feeling of freedom, and it's for a lot of patients who are able to see only a few inches away from their face, to be able to see clearly across the room or across the street, even to see the face of a person that they recognize, or to see their loved one or their child, or to be able to experience an activity that they may not have ever been able to do before. It's an amazing experience, and it's something I never get tired of, and it's so wonderful to see patients who are really happy. I think one of my most memorable patients was a patient who was actually involved in a fire, who was unable to see the exit, and it was a rather tragic incident where without glasses, this individual was unable to find the way out, which was incredibly frightening. And to be able to see clearly again, and just to have that sense of safety and security, that was really a very touching experience for that particular patient, and one that I think had a lot of special meaning, considering the circumstances that prompted this person to look into vision correction.
It's very impressive because having severe myopia is a true disability, and I am just so happy that I can get away from this kind of disability and get my normal life back. So I'm sure that my success story, your success story, can be a lot of other people's success story. They can just be like us. So thank you so much, Dr. Joseph King. I think it's very informative. 如果大家感兴趣的话，都可以去来扫描屏幕上方的二维码。那 King LASIK 呢是西雅图最具有历史悠久的视力矫正中心，在这个地区已经有25年的历史了。那 Dr. King 他个人呢已经帮助了15万人看清这个世界，他团队呢一共帮助了几十万人做了视力矫正手术。那现在他们推出了中文咨询，大家可以扫一下二维码。那二维码就在屏幕上，中文的微信号也可以添加，叫 King LASIK KINGLASIK。那现在呢 EVO ICL 晶体呢还有特别的 gift card 活动，大家不要错过。我们将会在下一期呢继续跟 Dr. King 呢一起来聊更多有关亚洲人近视的问题。Thank you so much, Dr. King. I will see you next episode.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.